Hello, people. My name is Philip,
Hello everyone, I'm Ahilleas.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about what has happened this year at sPhil and what's going to happen next year. So, we have launched two successful courses this year. You can see it here. We did a big course on starting the beginning of Hegel's logic, and then Christopher Sator has been teaching Schelling's freedom essay, and it's been going swimmingly.
Yeah, the feedback has been really strong on both those courses. I'm very pleased that we were able to do a Hegel course and then another course that wasn't Hegel, uh, because we want to have a nice sort of breadth to the sPhil platform, and that's going to be reflected in our courses next year.
Yes.
Uh, but I think it's always really encouraging when you get such positive feedback for studying such difficult texts.
Yeah, it's been really tough, but struggling together makes things easier.
Yeah, that's right.
As Elias was saying, we want to broaden the scope of our platform and not just keep it within philosophy, but also branch out into other kinds of texts as well. But the focus will still be on the text, right? Looking closely at what the concepts, the arguments, or the ideas are in the text and what's at work, and to try to understand the author in their own voice as best as we can. So when we're reading Kant, we're taking Kant's side. When we're reading Schelling, we're taking Schelling's side, and so on and so forth. Um, and there are so many great texts that we can look at throughout human history and look at it in depth and richness and just take time with it. That's really, I think, what we're providing, right? We're providing people with an opportunity to um, to carve out some space in their daily life to look at the majesty and mystery of human thought as it's been evolving throughout the ages.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're bringing our own um, philosophical formation, which was studying Hegel's science of logic, which requires in-depth focus on the text and spending a lot of time with the text. And that might seem obvious to people that when you do something like a PhD on Hegel, that you would focus a lot on the text and what the arguments of the text are. That's not necessarily the case. There are lots of different ways to do philosophy. You know, sometimes philosophy can be very much argument based or sort of view based, not necessarily text based. And we've always found that approach to be, I mean, for myself, I would say the most rewarding. I don't know about you, Philip, but definitely for me, the most rewarding way to engage with uh, ideas. And I think we've realized that we can apply that approach to more than just philosophy texts. That sort of that methodology of engaging with an idea does not just need to be restricted to philosophy, but can find fruition in other subjects.
That's interesting. So, what are you thinking in terms of what is it that we're applying when looking at a text in terms of methodology?
That's just the methodology, I think. Just that approach
Right.
of the sort of the discipline of spending time with the text, of spending time engaging with the source material in order to try to understand something on its own terms.
Right.
Instead of reading a secondhand commentary or
Yes.
something like that,
Abominations.
except if they're our own, Philip. Uh, Um, but yeah, that approach, and again, that might sound very obvious, but unless something was written in the last 20 or so years, you'll find as soon as you start engaging with a historical text, the language is different, the conceptual background is different. the way people think about things is different, and it's difficult to engage with a historical text on its own terms by
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
We were very lucky at Warwick. We had each other. We were a small group of Hegelian scholars, and of course, we had Stephen Holgate, who was fantastic.
Hegelian
Um,
nerds.
Scholars. we're,
Scholars.
we're rebranding. um, but it's hard to do it by yourself, and that's what I mean by sort of methodology, sort of
Yeah.
application. That sort of creating that environment where people can come together and study these texts, which tend to be difficult, and sort of learn more about them along the way.
Yeah. But why are they difficult, Ahilleas, and why are they so rewarding? Did something about the written word
Mm,
demands a certain discipline.
yep, I think that's true, especially in our day and age where we were all listening to podcasts and watching videos. It's difficult to focus
It is
on the
difficult to
written word.
focus.
Yeah,
It is extremely precious,
yeah, it is.
but you don't need to do very much to gain a lot from it. So again, with our live seminars, the motivation and incentive is there to come and focus deeply with others, and that sort of helps you along when you're then preparing for the next seminar and doing the readings and listening to or watching the lecture, right? It becomes it's like a framework of accountability and real progress, right? Because as you say, these texts are difficult. We don't have the historical context at hand, and there's lots that one needs help with in order to be guided into these texts and their ideas and worlds.
Yeah,
But without further ado, I think we should start talking about what we got planned for next year. Yes.
let's have a look.
Let's have a look here. So this has been sent out to people who are subscribing. You can do that in the email box there. So any news with our platform, first people to know are going to be the newsletter people, but then we'll send out everywhere else. So we have a little bit of a calendar here. That's kind of a rough estimate of what we're going to put out over the next year. And we're going to be starting with Hegel's mechanism with none other than yours truly.
Yeah, so we're going to start the new year with Hegel. Enough of this non-Hegel nonsense. Back
Yeah,
to our
just one
roots.
course of Hegel, and it's like, Haley's like, no, 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 let's get back to it.
Yeah. Um, I think we're going to do a separate video about Hegel's mechanism course where we're going to talk in more depth about it. But yeah, very briefly, we're going to be looking at Hegel's chapter on mechanism and the science of logic and really digging deep into what's going on in that in that chapter. And yeah, I'm very excited about teaching this. It's a topic that's very close to my heart.
It's gonna be great.
And I see that you're going to be doing Aristotle's On the Soul.
Yes, that'll be my next course. It's a text I've read, and I think I wrote a big paper on it in my bachelor. But since I haven't touced it, but coming back to it now after having read tons of Hegel and Kant and Spinoza and etc., it's just such a great experience to be reading Aristotle, and I'm just blown away by that guy. He's so enthusiastic and eccentric and all over the place. Um, yeah,
That's going to be fantastic.
he really is the master of those who know, as Dante says. And then we'll have so we'll start the year off in January, February, early March, I suppose, with your course on mechanism, and then it's
That's
going to
right.
be my course on Aristotle's on the Soul. It's going to be somewhere in late spring, early summer, and then we'll all go for a jolly break in the summer. No philosophy, at least for this year, planned. But then in the autumn, we'll return for the Great Fall, specifically the Fall of Paradise. So we'll be looking at Milton's Paradise Lost. It's a huge course. It's going to be taught by Kenneth Solberg, who is recently finished completed his PhD in linguistics and a study of London in the 14th century, 15th century. He can tell. He can explain that better than I can. But anyway, he finished a PhD, but he's a huge Milton fan and has been working and reading Milton for many years. And his course is going to be featuring not just like a thematic and literary approach to the poem, but also a linguistic approach. So people will be learning to read and understand Milton's prose and why he writes in the way he writes. So, like, what is blank verse, right? Everybody, seemingly no one knows what that is. People are just blanking out about it.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. I mean, that's actually a very exciting course because Milton, Paradise Lost, is a text I'm ashamed to say I've never read, and it's probably because whenever I think about reading it, I always say to myself, you're not going to understand the references, you're not going to get the actual substance of the poem. Sure, I'll understand the words, I can listen to a Shakespeare play, I'm sure I can understand Milton, but I imagine this to be such a layered text,
Yeah.
and I would just miss out on all that, which is also why I've never read Dante's Inferno and all those cool texts.
Yeah. But that's all the more reason to jump on board for Kenneth's course.
Yeah.
He'll be the man to teach it. He's gonna give you proper guidance and peel you through all the layers of the onion.
And then we're back to the Greeks.
Then we're back to the Greeks and we're
A
back to
very Greek
philosophy.
year. Yeah,
I'm gonna have a short-ish course taught by Max Macken. It's gonna be on Plato's Gorgias.
that's a great text. Such
Yeah,
a difficult text to do, but
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's about power and rhetoric, right? That one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. It's like, um, what matters, convincing someone that you're right or telling them the truth or making sure they understand the truth. And Gorge is going to be like, no, all that matters is how you is convincing them about your viewpoint. And
yeah,
Paul Plato is trying to get people to care about the truth.
yeah. It's
It's a
really a
very
text. Yeah, is a text about whether, might makes right, or is it right that makes right, right? Like, is it the truth that's more powerful?
I think yeah, and I haven't read it in a long time, but thinking about it now, it makes me think how it's always a very current discussion.
Yeah,
It's always the kind of these are the kind of themes that constantly are part of our social and political discourse.
yeah. They never
So
go out of style.
yeah, well, that's Plato. He's always fashionable with that toga, swanning around the agora.
Yeah. All right
Lovely.
then. So this is our plan for next year. I hope it sounds exciting to some, and we'll have lots of videos and information coming up in a run up for each course in terms of like details and what's going to be, specific contents and so on and so forth. But to get an idea of what they will be like, the format is going to be roughly the same as our pre-existing courses are. We'll have pre-recorded lectures, live seminars, and private one-on-one tuitions for those who want that. And yeah, the year is ahead of us, and we invite you all to come learn with us.
Yeah,
Let's learn from each other.
and
Because
thank you to everyone who's already been part of the sPhil platform so far. We hope you continue, and if you're new, please come, give it a go, join us, and yeah, it should be fun.
thanks very much for tuning in, and hope to see you soon. All right then. Bye bye.
Bye bye.